This video is a part of the Beginner's Guide to Masking in Blender series. Each video builds upon the information from the previous video, so if you're a beginner, it's best to watch them in order. And if you don't want to wait for them to come out one at a time on YouTube, you can get the entire series all at once for free by going to blenderfrenzy.gumroad.com. Just click on Frenzy Freebies, where you can get lots of stuff to follow along with my tutorials. Just click Add to Cart, and then check out. Fill in your email address, and use discount code FREEBIE to get $0 per month. Or, of course, you can pay $2 a month to show your support if you want. It's up to you, but either way, you will have access to lots of videos and files to follow along with my tutorials. Also, I've created a standalone course for this series that you can purchase if you want to say thank you. You will get everything from the Frenzy freebies, plus you will get access to my finished blend files, and you'll be able to download the videos for offline playback. So, thank you for your support, and on with the show. And set this to 100, and then it blurs that. Now that's a pretty big blur. Maybe I can take it down half. Let's just do 50. Yeah, so something like that. This is actually just a reference to show where to place the mask. But there you go, and you can do this for as many things in here, of course, as you want. Welcome to Blender Frenzy. I am Justin, and this is the third video in the Beginner's Guide to Masking or Making Masks in Blender. I'll leave a link to those videos in the description, but this one is about using the image editor to create your own mask on a still image. We're going to blur out something on a still image. So it's really easy. Just come up over here. You can either go to edit, new, video editing. But I'm actually going to come over here, press plus video editing, and then video editing. And then I'm going to come over to the corner of the preview, click and drag over, and then release so that we collapse that into the other window. And then I'm going to make sure over on my render properties over here, scroll all the way down to color management, change filmic to standard for the view transform. That is so that the colors come out like you would expect them to. Okay, so we're going to add in our image. Hover your mouse over the sequence editor, Shift A to add in an image / sequence, and navigate to your picture. We're going to be using this. Now, I got this off Pixabay. You can go ahead and get it off there, or I have included this at a different size in my Frenzy freebies. If you go to Gumroad, I'll leave a link to it in the post, where you can see all of the videos in the series and get all of the blend files and stuff that I'm using right away. You don't have to wait for it to slowly come out on YouTube. Use discount code FREEBIE to get $0 per month, and you will get access to a lot of the stuff that I use for my tutorials. I try to make it as easy as I can for you to follow along without having to do a whole bunch of extra work yourself. So this image will be included in that, and it's cropped at 1920 by 1080. The one on Pixabay is a little bit different size, so if you get it from there, you'll have to probably resize it to follow along here. So I'm just going to double click that, and this is what we have. So in the last video, we've already used a mask in the video sequence editor using a color strip. Well, this time we're actually going to be using a mask from the image editor, and so I'm going to come over here to the corner and pull something out here again so that now we have a duplicate preview. But I'm going to change this area over here to the image editor. And so we are going to load our image in here. And if we click down here, you can see there isn't anything here. I think that there should be, since we've already loaded it here. In certain places in Blender, if you load an image in, you can find it in other editors. It doesn't work that way with the video sequence editor. So with this in our render, we can come over to the Output Properties tab, scroll all the way down to where it says Post-Processing, and then make sure Sequencer is checked. Now I'm going to also uncheck Compositing just because we don't want to use that at all. And then I'm going to press F12. It's going to render this image because it's rendering it from the sequencer. And we're going to use this render result as our reference. Now I am going to pull this out here and just change this to a text editor just so that get my head out of the way. Okay, so we are here in our image editor. And if we come up to view, we can change this drop down to mask. And now we have masking information up here. And if you didn't know, in Blender, different areas sometimes have headers that go off the screen or off their area. It's very easy to see if you hover your mouse over the header and scroll. You can use your scroll button, or you can middle click and drag. So what I'm going to do is scroll over to here where it says new, and I'm going to just click new, and then we'll just say mask plate, because we want to mask out this license plate. So this is a rectangle shape. So I'm going to come up here to add, and then I can click square, or I can do Shift A, and then it's the same thing. So it adds it down here in the corner. That's where the 2D cursor is. For some reason, it doesn't show the 2D cursor. I'm not sure why. I know in other editors it will show that 2D cursor. I'm not sure why it's not showing here. But you can change that by Shift right clicking, I believe. So if I add in a square, yeah, then it will add where I shift right clicked. So that's one way you can add it. And then we can just, scale this to match this like that. So that's one way you can do it. I'm going to select all of these and just hit X to delete and select delete, because there's another way that you can add masks. You can do it manually. So I can control and then click, just a regular left click, and then same thing, and then I'll do control click, and I can hold down control and just click. And then while I'm here, since I want to close this out, I don't want to click another one over here. I just want to press Alt C, and that closes that out, and then we have that there. Okay, so this is our mask. Our mask plate is what we've named it. And now over here in our video sequence editor, if we come over to our properties over here, if you don't see this, you can press N. And by the way, my screencast keys are over here. The native screencast keys doesn't work in Blender 2.93, so I have to wait for it to get fixed. But until then, you can see this down here, me clicking, there's the left mouse button there. So again, that's the N key. Go to Modifiers tab, and then Add Strip Modifier, Mask. And the last time we used a strip as the mask, but this time we're going to just click Mask. And now we can click in here and we find our mask plate. So then we go boom, and ta-da! Now this is using our mask to show only where that mask is. Now if we hover over here, press N, and we bring up the mask, we can come and see what's happening. Let's scroll in our header to change our mask display to overlay. And then right now we have an alpha channel. If you have it combined, you can see black underneath, and then we have just the plate here. And if you change that to alpha channel, it will show you the black and white image that it's created. So now there's a couple of ways to go about doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this where it says opacity. I'm just going to invert this. So now everything is going to be shown except for this part. Now it doesn't update in real time, so we have to come down here to our sequencer and press Control R to refresh. And now you can see everything is shown except for the license plate. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this up. This will be on top. And then let's also just press the period on the numpad so we can center everything. Shift D to duplicate that, and I'll bring that down. And for the bottom one, I actually don't want to use a mask, so I'm just going to get rid of that mask altogether. And again, Control R to refresh. And we don't see anything under that still because this one is still in cross mode. The blend mode needs to be alpha over. Okay, so now we have, if we shift and right click, we can see our top one with the license plate cut out. And then our bottom one is showing through that. Let's move the top one up just a bit and then just select this one, Shift A, and then add in an effect strip, Gaussian blur. I'm going to click the bottom one here and H to hide because we only need to see our Gaussian blur. And then with that blur selected, I'm going to click and drag over these and just type in 100, enter. And ta-da, this is what we have. Now, if we scroll in here, you can see we have successfully blurred that out. And basically what we have, if we shift right click here, we have the entire image being blurred, but this image is on top of it with a little tiny part of it cut out showing the blurred image underneath it. So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it, let's just duplicate this, and we'll duplicate this also. Instead of having the bottom one blurred, you know what we're going to do? We're going to duplicate this mask. So this will be mask plate cut out. And then we're going to click this button, to make a duplicate. And then this is going to be add. Okay, so with this add, we're just going to click this invert button again, and we're going to make this like it was before. So now we have an add and a cut out. I guess I could have just said subtract, but oh well. So with the add one, we're going to come back down here, select this one, go to modifiers, and select our add. And if we come over here, now we can see we only have that added. And then we can Shift A, effect strip Gaussian blur on this one, and then come over to our strip and set this to 100, and then it blurs that. Now that's a pretty big blur. Maybe I can take it down half. Let's just do 50. Yeah, so something like that. Okay, and then what this will do, we want to make sure that that's alpha over. Both of those are alpha over, and then unhide this one with Alt H, and ta-da, we have this, which is not doing us any favors. So I think a couple of things here we need to change. First, let's hide this. And also what we'll do is just delete this mask from there. We'll use the mask on the Gaussian blur itself. Let's see if that makes any difference at all. It does. Okay, so this is how you would do it this way. So you would actually need to add the mask to the Gaussian blur itself. And it's the same thing. Now that's a little clunky there, or at least it's a little bit rigid. So what we can do is come to our mask. Let's close this here for now. Press A to select all, and then Alt S to scale out our feather. So this is feathering it a little bit. Now this is going to be feathering it inside. So we actually have to switch the feather around. So if we scroll over here to our mask, we can do switch direction, and then that will switch the direction of that feather, and Control R, and now you can see that's a lot smoother of an edge there. And there you go. Let's go ahead and do that for this one over here. So we also have, not that one, we want to go to our mask cutout and select all, Alt S. You can also come up here, transform scale feather. You can see that Alt S shortcut there, and then just drag your mouse. And as you drag your mouse, you can see that there. Now we need to switch direction like that, and then Control R to refresh that, and that's much better there. Now we can also come over here to our display again and just display combined, and just uncheck that overlay if we want to see our whole image there. It's not applying the blur to this image. This is actually just a reference to show where to place the mask. But there you go. And you can do this for as many things in here, of course, as you want. If you had somebody's face, or if you wanted to do something like this, what we can do is quick Shift A. We can do circle, add in a circle. I'm going to press G to grab, and wherever, well, right click to cancel that out. Oh, it's over here because that's where that cursor is. So G to grab, move this over here. Oh, that's like perfect size. Well, you know what? We need to scale that feather. So let's bring it in maybe like this, and then Alt S, scale that feather out, something like that. And this is going to automatically be an easy way we can do this here. Just go to alpha. And that's what that looks like. Maybe not. Okay, what's color? Overlay. So that's the combined overlay. Yeah, so this is the cut out one. So it's going to be cut out just like this. And if we come over here, Control R, and ta-da, we've got that blurred out the same. And we can, of course, scale that and refresh. And with all of these selected, Shift D to duplicate that, and then we can scale this like that. Control R, and you get the point. It can be done for same thing. If we do it on this way, let's go to our add. So this time we want to actually add, and I'm going to uncheck our overlay here. We'll add circle. And you see when I add a circle, this is all the same mask. So even though there are two separate curves, they're the same mask. And if you come over here, if you press N, you can see this is all on one mask layer. You can create several mask layers. I'm not going to go into that now, but you can create several mask layers and have them overlap each other. You can choose the blend mode to add or subtract from each other. I'll let you play around with that. This is just a very basic beginner's guide to how to get started with masks, but that's where you would go if you want to test something like that out. So yeah, here, just do we'll do this one on this though. We'll just scale this up like that, and we'll do Alt S to scale that feather, and Control R over here, and it's the same thing because we've already got our strips set up for using that mask the way we want them to. So all we have to do is keep adding to the masks where we want them. Okay, so that's how you use the image editor as a guide to adding masks onto still images. In another video, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use the movie clip editor to track some footage and add a mask to our track so we can blur out maybe my face. I'll probably put my face on there so that we can track that and blur that. It's very easy. It's very similar workflow, but we're going to do it to a video. So stay tuned and you'll see me over there.